What's up, everybody? It's your favorite discussion topics, favorite nerd.
There you go.
And today,
I like it.
I am with my good friend Adam Russman, that you may know from Nerd Rage Radio and doing the Hang Loose sign. You're big Hang Loose. I had to ask if you were doing the. What did I ask? If you were doing Hang Loose or
Shaka Bra.
Or no, it was something.
It's a Shaka Bra.
No, I asked you if it was something else. I was like, is that Hang Loose or is it something else? And then I asked if maybe it was Call Me. Doesn't matter. We're the hosts of the podcast Nerd Rage Radio. We have Viking Paul in the house today.
So,
and he's just kind of sitting down and chilling out. So we're going to talk today about scale. And I know it's been a little dry on the Transformers front recently, so we haven't had much Transformers videos to come with. So we thought we were going to do something different, which is have a discussion about an idea or a concept within the hobby or the fandom, and just sort of air out some grievances, praise some ideas, etc., etc. So at the end of this video, if you like it, want to see more of it, let us know. We can do it fairly easily.
give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up. Really helps us out. Give us a favorite. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give us a favorite.
There you go.
Really helps us out. So today we're going to talk about scale.
Can I just mention something
Please.
here real quick? Like,
By all means.
all right, I am also a collector of sorts, mainly this scale units, but I do have a Masterpiece Optimus Prime, Masterpiece Grimlock, Masterpiece Prowl, and that's it. That is all of my Transformer collection, and I like to vary into other things. I'm not going to talk about my DeLorean because Tyler will say something about it.
I'm looking forward to reviewing the Marty.
Oh,
by
dude,
the way.
Marty shit. But this right here, is striking. In the one I was thinking today, and I was like, you know what, man? I wonder if the Masterpiece size, like MP10. Can you grab MP10 real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if when I hold this in my hand like that, if that feels similar to holding the Optimus Prime in my 4-year-old hand back in the day.
I got him over there.
But my hand is not.
Sure.
But conceptually, it feels, because anybody who sees this, we've had this discussion before. Oh, I had that when I was a kid. No,
No, you
didn't.
No, you didn't. It's like the He-Man Classics.
Yeah. So I wonder if is the size of it, so to speak, something that you're gravitated to, just because it's got a presence, or is it because the articulation they're able to do more because it's bigger, or a little bit of both?
Because of the third party, or because of this particular piece?
What I'm saying is, if you had this, right, or in this, but they were sized like old-fashioned ones, with all the same articulation, same paint, same quality, would you prefer a larger size for the presence, or is there something about this size?
Yeah,
it speaks to you.
It's the overall finish of it, the articulation, the paint, and then the size doesn't hurt it.
Yeah,
but I think for Transformer collectors, most as kids, you have these figures that you think are so cool, and the show that you think is even cooler.
Yes.
The problem is that the figures don't look anything like the show.
No.
And
they don't make the noise.
And they don't make the noise.
So
also sucks. The only one that you could do is the little top spin and twin twist. So you,
dude, I remember Christmas 1984. I was depressed.
So
I think Christmas 1985. I don't know.
Could have been. So the thing about it is I think that most of us from a G1 perspective had an Optimus arm that was like this, and that was all it could do. So to have the ability to do those things, and it looks how you always wanted it to look, it's the sum of all of its parts.
So the question is, does size matter?
Of course.
Okay.
And let me tell you something, fellas. She's lying if she says otherwise. It's a matter of physics.
That's right. But I do like this size. I think it's something that you can identify across a room for a display piece. I mean, we don't play with our toys anymore.
We don't have the time.
Yeah, we don't have time. I mean, they sit up on a shelf. You walk by, you look at it. It's nice.
Side note: do you remember the moment you stopped playing with toys?
I don't know.
I do.
Really?
Yep. I was at my mother's house, so this is circa 99-ish.
So you're 19.
18, probably.
18?
Just playing the odds.
Okay.
Could have been the last 4 days of the year, but probably 18. And I set up, I bought a whole bunch of, X-Men Capcom. It had Street Fighter and X-Men. They both came in a 2-in-1 set. Bought a whole bunch.
Yeah.
First time buying toys in a while.
Yeah.
Came home and tried to get my war on.
Yeah.
Didn't feel right.
No.
Had to stop. Didn't have what it took.
Well, I guess technically the last time I played with my toys was last weekend because I still play with my miniature toys.
No, that's not really playing with them. No, it's not. It's not because you're not having.
I'm not doing one of these things.
Yeah, and you're not really having an imaginary battle, and this is where one is talking to another, and no, you know it's not.
It is not the same.
By any means.
Yeah, I know.
So it may scratch.
You're playing a game.
It may scratch the same itch.
You're playing a game. You know, you're not playing with your toys.
Right.
I'm tracking.
And you're playing to win.
Yeah.
Whereas you're just playing to make an epic story.
Yeah, just for entertainment.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand, scale. And the conversation is coming up about scale, what's right, what's wrong. Of course, as I always say on my channel, scale is in the eye of the beholder. Whatever feels right to you is ultimately what is right.
If you're happy with it and you like your purchase, then you win.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
There's so many animation errors in G1 that, some people see Devastator as, there's episodes where Prime is like this big, and Devastator's that big. And then there's episodes where Prime's like this big, and Devastator's that big. There's episodes where Ultra Magnus is holding Devastator in his hands.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's Devastator. It's if not, it's the Constructicons, but they're still this small.
Yeah. So he's the size of Devastator.
Yeah, because the animation's all over the place. Yeah. So ultimately, what feels right to you? But let's talk about the options.
Yes.
So this is the largest combiner scale available to date. And we have rumors that a Bruticus is coming and a
Motormaster.
No.
Toy World?
No. Just Bruticus and Superion.
Oh, Superion.
And it's challenging for me because I initially was not going to go with this scale.
Yes.
But the more I see it, the more I'm getting used to it, and the more I'm starting to like it.
Yeah.
And the idea that I have to see how it all shakes out, right? But ultimately,
we got to keep in mind too that the scale. Not only the robots are inconsistent, but the vehicles are inconsistent as well.
Sure.
These apparatuses are not the same size.
You have to choose.
Yes.
You have to choose. I mean, a great example of that is this. An ambulance and a motorcycle.
I have to pick that up a little bit. I don't think that's in frame.
An ambulance and a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Not appropriate.
No.
Not appropriate.
Just an ambulance for ants.
But the robots, or is it a bike for giants?
Yeah, giants, right?
But the robots are in scale, and for me, that's how I would want it.
Yeah.
And Defensor was always the same thing with the Combaticons, where you have one space shuttle, which should be huge, right?
Yeah.
What we have here are 3 representations of size. So obviously, Ironhide and Ratchet are a bit smaller than Prime, but overall, they're more comparable to Prime than they are to Prowl or Windcharger. So we have like the smaller size bot, the mid-size bot in Prime versus this Devastator.
Yeah.
Pros and cons.
I like the feel. I think Devastator needs to be a giant.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he needs to stand, tower over the quote unquote big bots.
But does he need a tower over the other combiners? Where does he fit with the other combiners?
Well, I think that the combiner, me personally, if I was in charge of the Transformer universe, I think the combiner size should vary based off the number of bots there are. So Devastator should usually be a little bit bigger.
Even though that forms differently, though.
Yeah. I mean, even though he does form differently, but I think he should be a little bit bigger, maybe.
See, I don't know.
Because he's 6 bots. How can 6 bots?
Well, because
all construction things.
That's the more valid argument. Is that we're dealing with construction vehicles.
Yeah. Well, 6 construction bots be smaller than 6 or 5 cars in a tractor trailer.
Well, because one of these construction bots is only taking up so much space.
Yes.
And the other, 2 of these construction bots are taking up the space of one semi-truck or one.
And it's safe to say that
military
with
transport.
the exception of Hook in, is it Long Haul? Who's the dump truck?
Long Haul.
And Hook, most of them are just in their normal vehicle mode.
Yeah, for the most part.
Just tilted up. I mean, there's other combiners that are much more, transform. I guess Superion is probably one of them.
But anyway, so I don't think there's anything wrong with this scale. I think this scale is right.
Yeah.
The problem is that you need all these parts forming pieces to do it.
Yes. But does that matter if you're going to be keeping them in a combined mode or robot mode?
Not necessarily, but let's pause for a second, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so this is my counter argument, and like I said, I'm on the fence, and I see both sides of it, and I'm more than willing to switch up.
Yeah.
And I might be switching up.
Yeah.
But to me, this is right for the right reasons, And this is right for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
So this is right because all these bots kind of scale properly with the Masterpiece bots.
With the vehicles.
No, with the robots.
Okay.
And then they stack on top of one another,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the size that it should be comparable to the Masterpiece bots.
Okay.
In the cartoon, it was never that small.
Yes.
It was always bigger, but the cartoon was wrong. They all mass shifted up.
Yes.
This, it's right, but it's right because it has to parts form in order to stack up.
Yeah.
And I mean, even using 6 bots,
Yes.
it's rare. It's barely using long haul at all.
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty much just parts forming, but it's able to make the size, but it cheats in order to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like this, I'm saying is like this is the right scale, but it's not the right scale for the cartoon.
I wouldn't
It's
say
the right scale for physics.
I wouldn't say it cheats. I would say that it's more realistic with, not trying to over-engineer all the Ghibli bits into each of the robots. You know what I mean?
I don't know because like there's never been a set that has
Right.
come out that has been able to match proportions. Like you would not have thighs this big on long haul.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't have a place to put them.
Hercules is pretty well proportioned, do they?
I think Hercules is well proportioned, but he's not as well proportioned as that.
No, that is the perfect proportions. I
Right.
agree. And but when you look at this, even looking at Prowl next to Brucus still feels a little small. Like maybe they should phase shift up.
I agree.
Maybe
I agree. I agree with you, and that's why I'm probably changing.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, there's nothing wrong with this
No,
because if you approach it in the fact that like this is how big they really should have been.
I don't think it's wrong with anything.
Sure, but I'm
Yeah.
saying for the sake of our discussion,
Yeah.
that this is how big they probably should have been.
Yeah.
It's just the cartoon.
And it does
was
come
able to
down-
defy the
I
laws of
think
physics.
that the biggest deal, in my opinion, is how are you going to display this? Like, if you're going to display these guys as a gang, like in robot mode, then that's a good set.
And so is this going to be because it's
Yeah.
all going to parts form in order to make the size.
Yeah,
You know-
I think maybe the parts forming is where it's at.
Maybe it needs to be.
Yeah.
In order to be the most rewarding for all,
Yeah, it checks the most boxes.
it checks the most boxes.
Yeah.
Now let's because we're dealing with Decepticons, let's swap out the Autobots real quick. Swap in the Decepticons. Have
Okay.
a quick discussion about that. Wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah, it's just like he's about the same size as Prime almost.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this because this is actually Grimlock. I think Grimlock is way too small now. Because he's smaller than Prime. He's definitely not.
Yeah, he's too small. He's always been too small.
He's definitely not proper Masterpiece scale. Hopefully,
Fans Toys
Fantoy's gonna fix that.
or Gigapower, depending
Can
on.
you grab another Dinobot?
Sure.
Which one does he fight? I kind of feel that's appropriate, right?
See, I kind of feel like even that is a little too small. Let me get the Gigapower one.
You know what?
Yeah, I feel like that's much more appropriate.
Mickey might be right.
Yeah, I just that's a separate. That could be our discussion point part 2.
Yeah.
If you want to hear our discussion point part 2, which would be which Dinobots to go with, let us know in the comments. Give us a like, give us a favorite. It really helps us out. But if we can have that conversation, because I'm not like I said, like I think the size of this in Dino mode is right. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I think that works.
But that works too.
I think that works too.
To this.
It's a tough one.
And those are the challenges of scale. So the Decepticons are a bit trickier.
Yeah, because they all feel bigger.
They're all bigger.
Yeah.
And most people's Decepticon shells are made up primarily by Seekers.
Yeah.
The Seekers are huge.
Yeah.
And then you add Astro Train, which is even bigger. The Blitzwing's going to be even bigger.
Yeah.
So most people's Decepticons are made up of bigger bots, so it's not as impressive.
Now, does Takara have a standard of where they're going to scale at? Are they scaling
As far as combiners?
as far as the robots? So I guess the Autobots are all scaled together based on vehicles, correct?
No.
It feels
No, not entirely, because like MP10 should be bigger.
Should it?
Yeah, it should be. Like a truck would be bigger than what it is. I think they're sized to robots because they fit the Sunbow chart pretty well.
Okay, that's the chart of the robot size.
Correct.
But the Decepticons don't fit the Sunbow chart, right?
No, they do.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess you just have Decepticons are a little bit more bigger naturally.
Yep.
Bigger brawlers.
Yeah, and the thing is that Sunbow chart was just used as a guide.
Yeah.
Whatever the animators did that day was anybody's guess.
Yeah, whatever they wanted to do.
Exactly.
So, That I mean, like even that is the Devastator feels right. That Bruticus seems way too small to me, especially next to Soundwave.
My kind of argument for Warbotron is, like, yes, it feels small next to Soundwave, but it feels small because we're used to seeing Bruticus abnormally huge next to Soundwave, where Bruticus should have technically been about this size.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, whether or not you're going to go with what feels more accurate or what feels more accurate to the cartoon. What's more accurate to real world, kind of.
All right, so now that you have your hands on this Toy World Debbie, and they come out, we're doing a Bruticus, or G1.
Studio Ox.
Studio Ox, okay. Studio Ox, Bruticus, Studio Ox,
Superion.
Let's say they come back and say, we're going to do a Studio Ox Predacane. I mean, would you be all in on this scale?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would...
probably.
You'd be done.
I think I'm all in on this scale anyway.
So this has changed you
after having it sitting on the shelf for a while, and I think
it just feels right.
Yeah, because I think ultimately my heart is with the cartoon.
Yeah, gotcha. So even though this is stylized, it's stylized still based in the cartoon. Just the Studio Ox version.
Yeah, I wish somebody would put out a more G1 accurate head for him, but that's a separate conversation.
Did it not happen?
Yeah, I would think it would, but
it
ain't.
Hey there, Shapeways.
Shapeways. $69.99 toys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Shit on that, man.
I know.
I'll make it happen.
But anyway, I think we could probably wrap it up here. I think that we've made it, that it comes down to, between going with this scale and that scale, it comes down to how you see these characters. Now, the only other thing to comment on is that a lot of this
Legend scale
is better made than this.
Okay.
I like this thing,
Yeah.
but it's lighter plastics. There's stress marks. There's elbows have been breaking on people. A wheel on long haul has been breaking on people. Of course, individual results vary. Yeah. Mine didn't have any breakage, but it has been a thing that must be acknowledged.
Is that because it's so much larger? They have to have lighter parts.
I think it's materials and tolerances, and maybe a lack of experience in the combiner.
Yeah, I would imagine though that this thing's 6 pounds.
I don't remember.
I could imagine though that if you did this size, the weight would be considerable more if it was the same level of plastic. So the weight of it might have an issue as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm speculating, but that does make sense to me on an engineering tip because
Well, I think the fact that it's a lighter plastic does make it more stable.
Yeah.
But when you're spending $100 for it, you get it in hand. It makes you less satisfied.
Oh, I can agree with that. I mean, if you're on the floor, bring in your bathtub. It's not going to last as long as the old school stuff. But I mean, sitting on the shelf,
right?
You'll be good. I mean, I'm actually thinking about. I mean, $600 is a lot. It's a high cost of entry. But that Devastator has. I don't have any third party stuff besides some Quintezon stuff, and I think that might be push me over to get that. If I went to a show with you and I could pick up all 6 of them like one shot, I might be coming back from TFCon Chicago with
that. Nice. All right. So anyway, we'll wrap it up.
I do have one other question.
Sure.
So if we agree that this size probably works the best with masterpieces, not that this is bad, but this probably works the best. If you're going to go with that Warbotron size, the more probably masterpiece scale robots. Obviously, they're not mass shifting up. What do you think those work best with? What scale? With scale or like Legends or whatever?
No, I think Legends they'd be too big. And the problem is like combined, it probably goes well with the Deluxe. I can grab one real quick. So about his size.
Yeah.
For a main like troop kind of bot.
Yeah.
It probably goes best with. But when they're disassembled and in robot mode, they're too big. They're as big as Prowl. So Prowl next to him, it doesn't look.
Yeah, it's way off.
And that's the issue.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to balance. Like I guess at the end of the day, it depends on how you want to, like I said before, how you want to display them and what you want to do with them.
Right. So my initial plan was to display these in bot mode.
Yeah.
Because they're very G1 accurate.
Yes.
Whereas these are more updated.
Yes.
And then have the combined mode be this guy, which is more updated. And if all my combined modes were updated, then that's fine. But now I may have to just break them down.
Oh, really? It's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, time will tell, but it's the way I'm leaning.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is the Wargatron stuff, the Unique Toys Orden, the Computron guys, the Feral Rex, all of them look great in bot mode.
Yes.
So there's no losing.
Yeah.
Unless you only want one set of a team, which is not how I roll.
So one last question: How many scales right now probably exist for third-party combiners? Probably have the Minnesota.
It's pretty much the fans project make toy scale, which is very chug.
Okay.
Very this scale.
Gotcha.
And then there's this scale,
Uh-huh.
which has kind of been like, it's kind of a chug scale. It's kind of a masterpiece scale. So just do what your heart desires, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing, which is clearly masterpiece scaled. No ifs, ands, buts about it.
Gotcha.
There's no real room for argument.
Yeah.
Even though this scale is about the same size as the Combiner Wars one.
Yes.
It's a slightly bigger. This one's slightly bigger.
He's beefier, right?
Maybe slightly, but yeah, he's probably beefier, but like he's slightly bigger. He's like maybe an inch,
2 inches,
an inch or two bigger. It's just slight.
Yeah.
But
2 inches go a long way, though.
I've heard that. So I tell you what, I would never sell myself short. So
Let me rephrase that: 2 extra inches.
So the thing is that the Combiner Wars one, people have been using that for this scale,
Gotcha.
which is wrong.
Yeah.
It's right if you like it, of course, but it's just technically wrong.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. If you like the discussion, want to hear more of this type of stuff, let me know in the comments. I'll definitely do it. I don't think I'm not going to reply to any comments in this video.
Oh, really?
No, just because it's
turn the comments off.
Just because no, I'm not going to turn it off because I want to know if people want us to do it again. But it's just a test to see, and just let us know if you like it. Feel free to chime in with.
I'm gonna reply to all the comments.
You should. Feel free to chime in with what you.
Oh, so sorry, you're wrong. Enter.
and let us know. Outside of that, Adam and I are on a podcast every week called Nerd Rage Radio. Feel free to check that out on iTunes and Stitcher and Player FM and Podbay and Google Play and every audio podcast carrying app. We don't usually talk about transforming toys.
No, we don't.
But we talk about
this is actually a request I had that I wanted to talk about it because I might have to expand my hanging out these transform. I'm calling it the Skullfest.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like I need to have a third-party piece if I'm going to come to Skullfest.
Maybe.
Because I'm like a negative 1%er.
Yeah.
So, hey, good conversation, man.
So check out Nerd Rage Radio. Let me know if you want us to keep doing these once in a while. And outside of that, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.